everyone. This is your friend Vivek Bajaj, co-founder Stockage and Elon Markets. I hope everyone is doing fairly good in life and you are enjoying this lovely, lovely bull run which we are witnessing in the market. Uh, are you not enjoying? I thought you will be enjoying because there's so much money to be made because market has really, really recovered and we are almost at the level where we were pre-COVID. If you have not been able to make money from this market, don't regret because this is actually quite normal. A lot of people were not expecting this movement, and the movement has happened. The fact remains that movement has happened, and there are some people who have made quite a lot of money from this movement. Now, my sincere suggestion to all of you is that don't get into a FOMO right now. Don't feel that you have missed out this opportunity because stock market never sleeps and it always gives you opportunity at every stage. At this stage of crisis, you get opportunity. At the stage of recovery, you get opportunity. And at the stage of hyper bullish scenario, you will get an opportunity. So don't worry. All you need to do is keep your senses absolutely correct and understand the right strategy at that particular stage of the market. When market was down and out, there was a different strategy. When market has recovered and reached to that pre-COVID levels, there is a different strategy. And in future, if market continues to go up, there will be a different strategy. It is important for us to know, to learn those strategies so that you don't get stuck with the wrong stocks, right? Now, friends, face to face has been quite a revelation. The focus has been always to provide you the right knowledge and right wisdom from right people. And this face to face is also very special. I have with me in this face to face someone who has loads of experience in market, someone who comes from a background of financial market, from generations who have been in financial market. The whole family has been in financial market for a long period of time. Someone who has worked in IT company, someone who has been managing people's money now, and he has quite a rich experience of participating in the market as a portfolio manager. Now, I requested him that if he can share with us the real art and science behind constructing the right portfolio, because all of us want to create wealth, and to have the right portfolio, right mix of stock is the most important part of that journey of creating wealth from stock market. So today, friends, this is going to be very, very exciting video. I have presented so many lovely videos in front of you, which has been long videos, but really given you the right knowledge about how to invest and create wealth in stock market. So today's video is going to be again very special. Hold on to this video, watch this video till the end, and try to implement whatever learning you're going to get from this fantastic speaker. So I have with me today Mr. Amit Gupta. I would like to invite him. Amit bhai, can I have you? Amit bhai, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi. Hi, Vivek. How are you?
All well, Amit bhai. How are you doing?
I'm good, good. Thanks for inviting me on the show. And it's a pleasure to be here and discussing the markets.
It's my pleasure, Amit bhai. I've been a follower of your Twitter handle, and I've been follower of your work and all sensible posts which you post. I see that all the posts which you have given is not at all for the sake of being a post. Every time you talk, you have a lot of thing inside you, and I thought that you are one of those people who should come in public and share your wisdom with everyone. So thank you so much for accepting this invitation, and you're going to give us a lot of things to think about.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Amit bhai, the structure of my face-to-face is that we will get a lot of technical knowledge from you, but it's always good to know about the person who is imparting the knowledge. So, please share with us your background. I know that your family comes from a stock market background. You have been there for long period of time. It's all there in the blood. So, if you can tell us more about you, your academics, your experience in life, and then we can go to the technical discussions about the right portfolio investment.
So, the stock market, I've been associated with Detroit Financial, and who has been a broker in Delhi, NCR for almost more than 2 decades now. We started in 1993.
Mhm.
I gave my like first NIS in cash market exam in '98 when I was 16. You know, being involved in in equity markets have been always been there. But it's only in
Mhm.
the last 10 odd years I have been involved full time. Before
Mhm.
that also I was involved with the IT company, but doing mostly a business analysis, business plan kind of thing.
Mhm.
Then I was associated with Friend Corp, who is the largest franchise consulting company in the world. Uh, and there I worked in on multiple projects with them, doing franchise consulting for them, doing uh, end-to-end kind of a financial plans, strategy plans. So that really helped me get to the grassroots levels. And we developed this technique of doing primary research and understanding a business from the grassroots levels. And then,
Mhm.
utilizing that uh, uh, to develop an investment strategy which we can then implement to buy stocks eventually in the market. So I have like my educational background. I have been a engineering graduate from Delhi University. I've done my MBA from Queensland University in Australia, again in finance and strategy. Uh, and I have been associated with Detroit now almost for 10 years since 2011. So started with building up the commodity and the forex desk for them, and then from 2013 we started building up our model portfolios, which we have been recommending to clients. 2016 we got our license from the SEBI for research analyst, and last year 2019 we started our portfolio management services (PMS).
Okay.
So it's been a journey of almost like 10 years full time with Android, and before that part time 10 years with them.
Awesome, awesome. So you have seen quite a lot of things in market, the way market has evolved, and right from being a commodities person to currency, and now into equity. So you understand the whole relationship of multiple assets, and I'm sure that that knowledge of understanding multiple assets is giving you enough input to become a very, very successful portfolio manager. So I know that you have created a PPT for us. I requested you to do that. So I'm not going to take much time in going in between your knowledge and wisdom and my chatter chatter. So let me just straight away share your screen, give you a right to share your screen so that you can straight away getting into discussing your concepts with us. Have you been able to see the screen request from my side?
Yeah, I have
Yes,
clicked on it. Can you?
yes, absolutely. I can see your screen. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So as we were talking about my background,
Yeah.
so these are some of the companies I have worked as a consultant before, uh,
Okay.
and where we have created like franchise plans from start to finish. Uh,
Mhm.
and as we have talked, set up the research desk, currently acts as a fund manager, etc. So the
Mhm.
topic, just a standard disclaimer before we go ahead to the presentation,
Mhm.
that any stocks discussed during the presentation is not an investment advice. It is purely from an illustrative and giving you an example to understand the various concepts.
Mhm.
So please consider a financial advisor, preferably us, before making any investment decision. And but my
All right.
employer, Adroit Financial, they are SEBI registered research analyst and both a portfolio manager.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, so the topic which we wanted to include in this presentation, which we wanted to cover, was that how you are going to use scuttlebutt as a primary research tool to create your portfolio strategy or create your investment strategy. So,
Okay.
for that, we need to understand what is scuttlebutt.
Mhm.
So the origin of the word scuttle that comes from the time of shipping, when people used to go out taking their ships to explore different places. So you make a hole in the ship's hull and causing her to sink, and they in that part of the task, you basically hold drinking water.
Hmm.
So that drinking water can survive for many days.
Okay.
So when sailors comes to when they in the break when they come to use to drink water, uh, they obviously exchange ideas and gossip around, rumor around. So that the word scuttlebutt came from that place. So basically, when you are basically drinking water while exchanging ideas, that's how the scuttlebutt originated.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so like a normal in the like new world, that is a colloquial concept of water cooler conversations, which we have in every
Hmm.
corporate office, whether it is water cooler or coffee conversations, that becomes. And
Hmm.
thanks to digital India, the social media is now the venue for news scuttlebutt. So you have got these Telegram channels, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., etc. So that has become a very effective tool to exchange ideas, to reach out to people you may not know, but that can
Hmm.
help you in devising your investment strategy or reconfirms your certain beliefs uh, out of
Hmm.
that uh, out of that exchange.
Hmm. Hmm.
So some people think that scuttlebutt is sort of like an has a negative connotation. It is like gossiping kar rahe hain types. But
Hmm.
what we need to understand is that at a very basic level, scuttlebutt is exchange of ideas. You are accepting information from
Hmm.
all sources, but you need to be careful what to accept and what not to accept,
Hmm.
and see how you can incorporate that into your investment strategy. So right
Hmm.
now, that's what we are going to discuss in the presentation, that how you can actually use that information which you are gathering uh,
Hmm.
to create your own investment strategy.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
so for that, you need to understand what scuttlebutt doesn't do.
Hmm.
Once you understand what it doesn't do, then you are
Hmm.
very there will be much more clarity what it can do. So
Hmm.
so whenever you are investing in the markets, you are creating an investment strategies. Ultimately, you are investing in stocks. So when you are
Right.
investing in a stock, there are a lot of things which you do, like reading annual reports, reading balance sheets, uh, reading about the management, how they have performed, reading, understanding cash flows, understanding valuations,
Hmm.
whether promoter is leveraged or not, how much debt is there on the balance sheet. So
Hmm.
all these kind of things you do, but that is part of the secondary research that you do when you are interested in a particular stock and you
Hmm.
want to invest in that. Then you do all that fundamental analysis, which we call.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but this you can do when you have a strategy in the place. How you are
Hmm.
going to create that strategy, that comes from scuttlebutt.
Okay.
So what? So what does scuttlebutt helps in? So it helps in you to create a your investment strategy. Uh,
Hmm.
so when you're gathering information, then you can know which sector, okay, I want to be underweight or overweight,
Hmm.
how to play that position size in the portfolio. So, like for
Hmm.
example, I personally don't buy anything which is less than 3% of my portfolio. So my minimum allocation to a particular stock has to be a 3%.
Okay.
I can go up to 10% also, but the minimum has to be 3%. Otherwise, I feel that it is not worth it. But sometimes
Okay.
what happens is you are too early into the cycle. You don't want to commit fully. But to
Right.
how to understand that whether you are early in the cycle or midway on the cycle, then that comes from a little bit help comes from the scuttlebutt, which we'll discuss more in detail in the presentation.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
similarly, does it helps you to create strategy, and your
Hmm.
portfolio doesn't become a collection of stocks. So
Hmm.
अभी right now क्या है कि especially in the last 4 5 months when the bull run has happened, uh, uh, people portfolio has become a collection of stocks. अभी वो
Hmm.
ट्विटर पे सुना, अभी वो किसी ने व्हाट्सएप पे लिख दिया कुछ. uh,
Hmm.
there is lot of impulsive buying happening. It is
Hmm.
not because you believe in a particular stock or you believe
Hmm.
in a particular sector.
Hmm.
It is happening because people, as you said in the introduction, also people don't want to miss out.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so FOMO, what we call as fear of missing out, that's a very strong emotion in the markets, and that can cause a lot of damage to the portfolios if not done in the right manner. So, scuttlebutt helps you to keep the portfolio hinged to a particular strategy and not
Right.
just randomly buying stocks.
Right.
Okay. Similarly, scuttlebutt helps in confirming the trends on the ground. Are you seeing what we are hearing?
Hmm.
Not on like social media, but
Hmm.
if I'm invested in a particular stock, uh, and a company is giving a certain commentary, a very bullish commentary, let's say.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you have to see it on the ground whether that is happening or not. So like
Hmm.
what's happening is currently, if you look at the whole lockdown phase, uh,
Hmm.
each of the FMCG companies, they are saying that June is better than May, July is better than June, and August is
Right.
better than July,
Okay.
right? So what we are seeing is that there is a consistent trend in the commentary of FMCG companies that the demand is coming back. But
Right.
a similar demand commentary is not coming from, let's say, an auto company.
Hmm.
All the auto companies are saying that the demand has come up because all the showrooms were closed for 2 3 months. So
Right.
this is the only the pent up demand, and we should not be extrapolating it further. And that's the feedback which we are getting when we are talking to the auto dealers, auto distributors, to accept tractors where there is a waiting. We are seeing that in the demand is already fading, started fading.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So whatever the management is giving the commentaries, Scuttlebutt helps you to evaluate that whether that is correct or that is a little off the mark or not.
Hmm.
Okay. Then uh, important way of doing Scuttlebutt and why we so passionately do it is that we incorporate a lot of cultural and social norms and reforms which are happening and how that is impacting our strategy. So I will be
Okay.
discussing a lot of few examples in this, that how the cultural changes that impact your investment strategy. So like if I want to give an example, in 2013 we saw that uh, it was not a like immediate, but we have become very aspirational. So the RBI
Hmm.
data, which generally comes with like a 2 year lag, it shows that the leverage in the market is going up because people are buying more loans. Uh,
Hmm.
because we were becoming an aspirational society. So
Hmm.
you are okay with buying a AC with a loan. You are okay with buying a mobile with a loan. You are okay with buying car with a loan. So buying car has been there for quite some time, but uh, even if you can pay, you will not pay. Those kind of situations were coming in the market when we are doing scuttlebutt. Uh,
Hmm.
Similarly, there have been a lot of cultural changes, which we will discuss more about that. But that is coming, and all of that actually impacts your strategy in some way or not, because that those changes impact the demand and supply. What is happening in the markets or what is happening in the businesses, and that also decides whether a business is taking a lead, whether it's able to maintain its competitive spirit, competitive strategy, whether it is able to scale up or not.
Hmm.
So all that cultural and cultural flux, social norms, that comes very handy when you are devising your investment strategy. Then it also helps you to do a appropriate asset allocation. So how much should you go into equity? How much should be go into debt? How much should go into gold? Like in the past few months, gold has run up, so people want more of the gold, but it has already run up. So how much you
Hmm.
want to create, that also depends how the economy is turning up and how much
Hmm.
you are seeing that as a safe haven. So while when we are doing financial planning for our clients, uh, apart from personal risk appetite, understanding the risk appetite of a particular client or a particular person who is working with us, we also need to see what is happening in the economy, and that for that we need to get into the bottom of what is happening on the ground. That gives us a indication that whether we want to be more in debt or equity or gold, etc. So, so it helps in forming the investment strategy, and also able to tell which are going to be your core stocks in the portfolio and what are going to be your cyclical stocks. That okay, these stocks you can stay for longer period of times, but cyclical stock you want to just play the cycle and get in and get out. So what is going to be the holding period of that stock, that needs to be decided with the help of inputs of what we are seeing it on the ground. Okay. So someone who wants to really understand what is scuttlebutt and get into very theoretical stuff. I've included some sources. I mean, I don't want to go into very detail because that will become very boring. But because that is mostly theoretical. But somebody who wants to understand the scuttlebutt from a very basic level, I would consider that some of these sources are very essential starting points. So I'll just quickly go through them. Uh, this is a very old book, almost a 25-year-old book, Philip Fisher, Common Stocks and Uncommon Profit. So it tells you the concept of scuttlebutt, what you have to look, 15 points that you have to look in the stock, uh, how to do the due diligence about a company, the true on the feet research means you're basically going and meeting the suppliers, the vendors, the employees, ex-employees, ex-management, current management, etc. And then you are basically including that into your investment strategy. Another is these Graham's and Rodwell's newsletters, who are very famous in US. Uh, how they do scuttlebutt, and they write a lot of stuff uh, on this topic. And all these newsletters are freely available on their website. You can just Google them and read them. They are available from like 1980s. Uh, and why that is important? Because that gives you a deeper insight into the company, how the scuttlebutt is done, what are the modes, what are the switching costs which we are looking at. So you develop a sort of a higher level of confidence and conviction in whatever you are buying. So it sort of acts as a extra layer of your research. See, what happens is, right, currently we are so bombarded with all the information. 80-90% of that information is completely useless, or it does not impact your investment strategy. But what is happening is that the focus of that, or the velocity of that news coming into the market, that is so much, and it creates a sort of a price action which forces you to take action in the portfolio.
Yeah.
But if you have done your if you have done your research properly, if you have developed a certain conviction on that system, so almost I would say 80% of the news you can actually filter it out. You can say that, okay, this is not going to impact either my investment strategy or my stock business, so I will not bother about it. I can filter it out. Obviously, it comes with experience. It does not come eventually. You'll make some mistakes on the way, but eventually you'll learn over a period of time. You'll learn how to incorporate scuttlebutt in such a way that it acts as a sort of feeder system to your research.
So I have a question,
Again,
Amit bhai, in this. Practically we all are part of multiple WhatsApp groups and multiple platforms, and we are continuously looking at YouTube and TV, and we have been, as you rightly said, we have been bombarded with a lot of stock ideas or noise around stock market. So, for you to make an assessment about whether that noise is actually a noise or a productive information, it will take some time before you can do your research and then act on that noise. But by the time you buy some time to do the research, the stock price has already gone up by 25-30%.
huh,
So you feel especially in this bull market, when every stock, just the mentioning of a stock in a WhatsApp group leads to that
Hmm.
stock going up by 10%, 15%. You don't get time to do that research. And next time when anyone is talking about stock, you just want to go ahead with it. Forget about
Ah,
research, assuming
hmm,
that people who are posting must have done that research. And then you
hmm.
miss that whole crux of the matter that I should do my
Uh,
own research, I should
right.
evaluate that idea based on my own framework and then act on it.
So, so basically, you've touched on a lot of points, but a lot of work in investing is also patience, and
Hmm.
a lot of work in investing is also luck. ओके सो वो गाना है ना कि जो नहीं मिला वो जो मुकद्दर में नहीं था वो नहीं मिला तो कोई बात नहीं. So you need to develop a thick skin in the investing. You have to say that okay, I will invest only when I'm convinced about an idea, or I will
Hmm.
invest only uh, when it is fitting into my investment strategy. So there have been cases where we have missed out on a good stock because we wanted to do more research and we were not convinced about that particular stock in that particular moment. It happens. And this kind of movement happens in every bull run. It
Yeah.
is not specific to this. This happened in 2017 also.
Yeah.
When you mention a stock on a WhatsApp group, on a Telegram, on any social media. There were blogs written on some of the most rubbish companies, and the stock will go up. But
Hmm.
eventually, what I feel is, and this is my third cycle, and I've seen this, whether it was 2007, 2013, 2018, that the mean reversion always happens.
Okay.
Mean reversion in the stocks always happens. And if you're not getting out, if you don't have a strategy in place, then it is very difficult to get out of these stocks at the right time. And
Okay.
and strategy is not about कि यार एक बारी stock ले लिया तो फिर भूल जाएंगे. Strategy
Hmm.
is always changing. It is we
Hmm.
keep on reviewing our strategy every quarter. We see whether it requires fine tuning, whether we want to get change the strategy, change a particular sector's allocation or not.
Hmm.
So a good investor should stick to his investment strategy and see it over a period of time whether it is working right or not. If it is not working, then obviously some certain changes are required. But if it is working over a sort of a 3 to 5 year period, then one should stick to that because bull market come and go. Your stock should give you money. That is the crux of it.
But Amit bhai, what you are saying is very relevant for someone who is a professional money manager and who has that mindset of wait and watch and believe in his or her own study. But you talk about retail investors who basically work on borrowed ideas.
Right.
How do you help? How do they create their own framework where they know that, it's like when in school, when you used to appear for an exam, so you have studied and you're very confident, but suddenly a
Hmm.
topper sits in front of you, and
Hmm.
then you will forget about all your knowledge and you will wish that the paper of the topper is visible to you clearly, and you just
Hmm.
want to copy what the topper is doing.
So, for that, probably if you're very new to the markets, and I have done that, so I can tell you, it is always better to get a mentor. It is always
Hmm.
better to have a support system to bounce off ideas. And there
Yeah.
are enough good people. There are inherently good people. Even if you find it on the social media, I have connected with so many people who are patient enough to listen to you, who are patient enough to, and without any financial kind of financial kind of arrangement, they will listen to you. They will bounce off ideas to
Hmm.
you. So it is important to have that support system. If you want to do it professionally, then it's always better to get a mentor, get a SEBI kind of an analyst or an investment advisor, and
Hmm.
see for yourself. A retail investor should see, okay, I should do this with the help of someone, or I can do it independently.
Right.
My personal experience of last 20 years is that it is retail investors in the first cycle they do it themselves. They
Yeah.
make loss. In the second cycle, they do it with the investor. So they
Hmm.
make some money because they don't follow the investor completely. So the
Hmm.
cloning, whatever he is recommending, you are not able to clone. आप उसमें अपनी थोड़ी सी अपना knowledge डाल दोगे, थोड़ा सा अपने ideas डाल दोगे.
Hmm.
But in the
Hmm.
third cycle, a retail investor always makes money because
Yeah.
by the third cycle, he has seen what mistakes he has done, what kind of cycles are there, which are core stocks, which are cyclical stocks, how much should be the position sizing, कि मैं एक स्टॉक को 20% तो पोर्टफोलियो का नहीं ले रहा, मैं 5% ही लूंगा, इससे ज्यादा लूंगा ही नहीं. So those kind of
Hmm.
decisions. So my advice is that it's a learning process. Don't jump it. It is, if you can skip the first cycle by directly going to advisor. So at least you make the mistakes with the advisor. Okay, and then in the next cycle probably you can do it independently.
सही है, सही है. Point taken. आगे बढ़िए सर.
Okay. So, so couple of more, right now the streaming platforms are very good, and these are like couple of ideas, but there are many documentaries which are available on Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc., etc. I know I saw your tweet, I think yesterday or night or something, you have unsubscribed to Netflix. So I guess that's a good thing. But
Hmm.
what I have kept Netflix is only to watch documentaries. I usually don't watch too much of other stuff, but do watch business-based documentaries
Okay.
or movies itself.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
that gives you a sort of a good idea about what has happened in the history. And history is always good to read, good to learn from that history. So
Hmm.
one of the movies we seen is The Big Short, which is based on the 2010 book by Michael Lewis of the
Hmm.
same name, Big Short.
Yes, I've
So
read that book.
there,
Very good book. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So there, there we have seen that how scuttlebutt but can actually happen in staying ahead of the market. So
Right.
in that, the Mark Baum character, the plays by who actually played Steve Hesman, a famous hedge fund manager in US, they go to
Hmm.
Florida and they do scuttlebutt and they come to know that this is a subprime happening. People are taking multiple loans on the same property, or people are having multiple properties and multiple loans on them. So it was kind of a subprime kind of a situation. As soon as that he found that on the ground, he shorted the markets big time with the help of swaps.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it took some time for market to fall. But because there was a lot of dishonesty among the credit rating agencies, also there were multiple conflicts of interest going at the same time. But he
Hmm.
finally, the market collapsed in 2008, and
Hmm.
he was able to make a good profit. So that is, and this is not like कि वो फिल्मों में हो रहा है, एक्चुअल में भी ऐसे ही होता है. There were a lot of instances, like in the case of Manpasand beverages,
Hmm.
people who actually saw the products on the ground, they knew that these products are not available at that many places where the management is commentary, and
Right.
ultimately they are basically crooks. And in 2018, there were a lot of stories like this, uh, where retail investors were invested and they all fell in 2018. But in 2017, people who did actually the scuttlebutt, they were able to filter out a lot of these kind of run-up stories which happened in the market. So
Right.
scuttlebutt is just not to uh, buy a stock. It is also what not to buy a stock, a particular stock.
Right.
Right. Another example is from the China Hustle 2017. So there is this research company called Muddy Waters in US who did a lot of scuttlebutt for the some of the Chinese companies where they were inflating the profits and the revenues and the sales target. So what they did was they went to actually China and shot the opening gate of where the trucks used to come and go. So what they found is that the number of trucks which are going and the capacity which they are carrying, that is nowhere close to the actual sales number which are which the company is actually giving. And these
Hmm.
companies were actually sold by the investment bankers to the US investors. So there were ETFs and funds who were actually invested in that. And when the muddy water, came up with their research reports. Uh, they obviously short sell the stock before publishing that report, and finally the fraud came out, and all those who were invested in that they made huge losses. So, so in India, obviously there is no short selling. So these kind of research is not very appreciated or not so much appreciated in India. If you allow short selling to happen, then this kind of research will grow up. But at least scuttlebutt helps you not what to ignore, what not to take into the portfolio.
Right.
Okay, right. So, so now we are actually getting into the main what is how we do scuttlebutt, etc. Uh, I divide like stocks into basically three parts. The portfolio is divided into three parts. One is the core stocks, your defenses, and where the holding time period is at least 5 years, minimum 5 years. Now, what
Okay.
happens is in these kind of stocks, these are well-known names usually, but you need to see whether they are able to compound or not. Again, there a factor of when to buy comes, because we have seen a lot of good companies who have not, whose share price have not gone up, even though the business is doing well. So a perfect example would be Reliance from 2008 till 2016. Before Geo comes, the business was doing fairly well. Their revenues were increasing, but the share price did not go anywhere. Similarly, in the 2000s, this happened with HUL. They were compounding their revenues, but the share price did not move from 2000 to 2008. So we have seen enough examples, even within the good company, within the core stocks, that timing them is critical. So you need that extra trigger for Reliance. Geo came and that became a trigger to turn around the business. So that portion comes in but that trigger will come from scuttlebutt. That trigger will come when you see it on the ground.
Correct.
Similarly, you have got these cyclical stocks which really require a lot of scuttlebutt and a lot of research on the ground to see, because they have got very short time cycles, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year maximum. So for them, when the cycle is so short, your entry and exit points needs to be very precise. And for playing that cycle, you need to make sure that you're doing your full research on the ground. You're understanding what is happening. So a perfect example from 2017 could be these HEG and graphite stocks, HEG and Graphite India, the graphite stocks, or in like current market, it could be the amine stocks, the Balaji amines and the alkyl amines, which are doing fairly well. But these are mostly cyclical stocks. So there is an abnormal profit which comes over a few quarters, and then that profit dies down, and so the stock prices also go up. Those kind of stocks are cyclical stocks. Again, for them, you need to do research, talking to people associated on the ground with these companies, and do a lot of data analytics to understand that whether this is a cyclical stocks and how uh, how long this will be the cycle, whether it will be a very short cycle. Sometimes for some certain chemicals, let's say the cycle is very short, it is 3 months only. Recently, a lot of alkali stocks went up because of certain PDI chemical was banned from China. So for them, the cycle is very short. They will go up and come down. Okay. So identify, okay, yeah, this will stay longer, or this will stay for a very short period of time. That we need to understand. And third category is the special situation. And because we have a sort of a bias, we run the portfolio in the PMS which we run is based on special situation, where you have got listing happening, delisting happening, merger, acquisition, takeovers, spin-offs, etc. kind of situations. So that is usually played over a cycle. So special situation could be like, okay, X company is acquiring Y company. I want to play that cycle. I want to see that. I want to buy into that company when it is acquiring, and over a period of, let's say, 2 years, the profitability will increase to double, or the revenues
Hmm.
will increase to triple. So I want to
Hmm.
play that cycle. So those kind of situation is what we cover in the under stable situation. So and
So,
what is also, yeah.
so the current movement, sorry to interrupt in the middle. So the current movement in API and pharma, I mean, I will classify API as non-pharma. So API and
Hmm.
pharma, do you think this is cyclical or it
So
is, yeah,
so there are two ways looking at the theme is a slightly longer in nature. The API
okay.
theme is here to stay. The
Hmm.
reason for that is that a lot of these pharma companies were doing capex for a very long time, almost four
Right.
5 years. And if you look
Hmm.
at the pharma cycle, which topped out in somewhere in 2015-16,
Hmm.
obviously there were a lot of FDA issues also, but the cycle topped out in 2015-16 because they were doing a lot of capex. And when you are doing a pharma capex, getting all the regulations, getting all the approvals, it takes time to get the revenue streams, higher revenue streams again.
Hmm.
So now that capex phase is over, uh,
Hmm.
they are ready to provide APIs to companies if they want to shift from China. So that shift of China has happened. Uh, that could be permanent in nature. So some of these
Okay.
API companies can actually do well over the course of next 3 to 5 years. What has also happened is COVID. Now, what has happened is because of COVID, and this we again comes from our scuttlebutt. What we realized in sometime in March, that there was a lot of excitement among everybody associated with the pharma or a healthcare business. So whether it is a
Hmm.
doctor, whether it is a someone who is running a diagnostic clinic, everybody was anticipating higher revenues simply
Hmm.
because COVID has happened. But what changed for them is the approval, or you can say the support which they got from the government also.
Right.
So, and this has happened with not just in India, across the world. So,
Hmm.
higher healthcare budgets have been approved. Higher money has been spent, getting spent on R&D of these stocks.
Right.
Then there is a sort of an anti-China sentiment, which is also helping these companies. To answer your question, this theme, I think API theme is there to stay for at least the next 2 to 3 years. The visibility is there for 2 to 3 years, and
Hmm.
especially those who have completed their capex.
Okay.
And I don't want to relate this to the price action because some of the prices have been totally absurd. The stock doubling
Hmm.
in like 1 month for
Hmm.
one of the API companies. So for them, there will be some sort of a time correction and price correction. That is the market dynamics which will happen. Uh,
Hmm.
but at the same time, lot of small caps have moved up because they are like making one small molecule of API. So those kind of stocks which we need to be very careful. But the
Okay.
sustainable stories, we think that they can be a good compounders for clients or the investors over a period of 15 years.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
Okay. So, as we were talking earlier, uh, Scuttlebutt also helps you in your financial planning and helping you to devise your asset allocation.
Hmm.
So I'll give you like few examples in this. So there
Hmm.
are 3 points which I wanted to touch upon, and deliberately I put it these 3 points because these 3 points we have actually implemented it for clients, our clients.
Hmm.
So the first point, the shift to debt. This happened in December 2017 review when we decided that equity markets are going out of hand. The mid caps and the small caps, they are like trading something like 100x. The trading fee is trading at 100x, and we thought that this is not going to sustain. The equity markets are going to go down. Um,
Hmm.
so there we shifted a lot of our in the asset allocation. We shifted almost 25% of our allocation to debt. So that is one way of seeing it. But the reason for doing that was not just because stock market was going up. It could go up by Another 20%, you don't know how the liquidity is playing. It is very difficult to judge liquidity, when it is going to come and when it is going to stop. But the reason was that what we were seeing on the ground, uh, that the MSME, the SMEs, they were not making money despite this whole run. And the what is happening right now also, that the realities are disassociated. What is happening in the economy and what is happening in the stock market. So some see, ultimately markets are forward looking. So some disconnection will always be there. But when the disconnection happens so much, like it happened in December, January 2018, that's when you have to take a asset allocation call, and that has to come, from what you are seeing in the ground. Then there comes a point where you cannot ignore the signals from the ground,
Hmm.
signal what is actually happening in the business.
Got it.
Similarly, yeah. So we went basically underweight equity at that point of time. Second, which happened was in September 2018, when the NBFC crisis happened, when this DHFL, ILFS, they defaulted. Uh, so we watched for almost 3 months. So this crisis happened in September, and from November we watched and December we watched. Uh, so we did a lot of surveys on the wholesale markets, both in Delhi, NCR, North India, also in Bombay a lot. We did surveys in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We did it in Jaipur. And what we saw was that the credit offtake was not there. So I think there is one slide. I'll just go a little, yeah, ahead. So this was the survey which we published on 17th September. Uh,
Hmm.
so these are actually snippets from our client note which we have sent on 17th September. And usually we do this survey like 45 to 60 days before Diwali, because that's where the inventory is there into the system. That is the peak inventory of the month, of the year, actually. And we saw that across the board, there was a poor demand. So whether it is textile, chemical, decorative items, sanitary ware, food, spices, etc., they've significantly reduced their inventory levels. The working capital was expensive. Two of the lenders were aggressively lending. So, without taking the names, which two banks were lending very aggressively. So we have said that the credit cycle has gone. So when the credit cycle is gone, banks are not reluctant to lend. Why they are trading so expensive? So NBFC crisis has to happen. Uh, Whether it will happen in 10 days, because I think this happened on 17th, and I think 21st or 22nd, the DHL crisis happened. So, and we wrote in the note that according to us, markets should derate all the financial stocks,
Hmm.
and this would obviously provide excessive volatility into the market. But we want to exit a lot of our financial positions. So at that point of time, we were about 30% in financials, and we reduced it by 7 or 8% in the portfolio, and we went down to 20 to 23% in the portfolio. So that's how scuttlebutt can help you in also realizing what is happening on the ground, and then you can take action. And then
Hmm.
when we saw that this is going to stay, NBFCs are not going to make money now. A lot of NBFCs will go bankrupt. Then in 2018 December, from December 2018 till January 2019, we shifted to gold. We shifted
Hmm.
25. We made our asset allocation as 25% gold, and I've written this very extensively on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I've written it everywhere. I mean, people can go and read on our website, on our blogs, uh, that we want market would go eventually into a safety zone, and market definitely want to have a safe haven into the system, and that's why we shifted to gold. Again, in 2019, so 2020, when the COVID happened, we published our big report that it's time to take a big call on the equity, and that's where we overweight on equities. And that again comes from the fact that we had a 2 year period where the mid caps and small caps had not worked. We were seeing the bottom happening, so the shift to back to equity had to happen at some point of time. uh, so we wrote this. in 2020 March, uh, that this is going to be a big bubble in the healthcare sector. So everybody who's associated, who the policymakers which are associated, they would readily accept any higher investments which is happening on the healthcare system, and this
Hmm.
bubble will, will be far more tangible, acceptable, inflatable, in the sense that this will go on much longer than people actually anticipate. There were all obviously a lot of other points which we had while making that call with respect to equities. But my point is again to go back to scuttlebutt. It would help you to devise your asset allocation, when to
Hmm.
go underweight into a particular asset, when to go overweight into a particular asset.
Hmm.
That can happen. So if there are temporary concerns, you go underweight. When there are temporary upsides, you go overweight into a sector. If there is a fraud, obviously you have to exit. If you find out that your investment logic is not working, then you have to get. So scuttlebutt helps you to get a sort of a feel on the ground.
Hmm. Correct.
So now, as we were discussing earlier, uh, how the social norms in our society, or how this is specific to India only,
Hmm.
how that impacts your investment strategy, and what kind of things you should incorporate in your investment strategy, what kind of things you are seeing on the ground, which you can sort of correlate with the stats which are coming out. One of the drawbacks is that a lot of our data is very old when it comes out. So RBI
Hmm.
publishes like some of the data which they publishes on uh, jobs and businesses and employment and etc. They are very old. They
Hmm.
comes like with a lag, 6 months, 1 year lag. But the
Hmm.
market does not wait for that. Market reacts to that data, what they are seeing it on the ground, or what they are hearing from the management, and or what is happening on the ground.
Hmm.
So that's why the scuttlebutt, it is required to keep assessing that what are the changes which are happening on the ground. So, so one of the things is that most of our people belong to middle and lower class. So what is happening over the past 6 7 years is that uh, we have become aspirational as a society. Uh,
Hmm.
but there is the income has played flat. So the wage inflation is not there. If you take it like on a CAGR basis, it's less than 5%.
Right.
Uh, so what has happened is that brought a boom in the consumption finance, or consumer
Hmm.
finance. So you had these Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv doing really, really well, and most of the NBFCs doing really well till 2018. That was derived from the fact that because we were becoming aspirational, because the wages were flat, because we had easy access to credit. That leads to a complete cycle of consumer finance happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
Similarly, uh, you know, as a society, we have become very expressive, and
Hmm.
not just on social media. Even if you go and meet people on the ground, on the villages, even in the uh, urban areas, the rural areas, even the semi-urban areas, that has become the most progressive tier two, tier three cities. Their assertion towards everything, region, religion, etc., is become very prominent. It is in the face. Okay, so like this was about 6 7 months ago when we did our survey in Chandni Chowk in Delhi area, which is a very prominent marketplace. Uh, so the Rudraksh bands, they were in vogue. They were like selling like anything. So that shows that people, there is a lot of show off also which is happening. People want to uh, be part of a fad. Okay, कि यार ये अभी वो इन न्यूज में है और इम्पोर्टेंट है, तो चलो हम भी यही काम करते हैं. So their commitment to a particular fad is also temporary. What is
Hmm.
suited to their convenience, they'll do it.
Hmm.
Uh, But whether they'll follow it or not, that is for a longer period of time, that needs to be seen. So why I'm
Right.
telling all this is because it comes from a uh, very critical part of our strategy, that
Hmm.
if there is a product which people can easily switch,
Hmm.
given the society has become very sad in nature, they will मतलब अपने convenience होगा तो use करेंगे, नहीं होगा तो नहीं करेंगे. So
Hmm.
you don't want to be in a product कि आज मैंने इसमें invest किया और कल कोई एक competitor नया product आया and the people stop using my product or
Hmm.
stop
Hmm.
using my service. So you don't
Hmm.
want to be in that kind of a business, or that
Hmm.
don't want to be in that business model where the switching costs are far easier.
Hmm.
So I can give you a couple of examples on this. Recently, during the lockdown, I did one because for a time ज़्यादा था lockdown में. I did one creative writing course, online creative writing course, and that course is conducted by one of my friends who is a author, a writer, author,
Hmm.
and he has published some 6 7 books also. uh, and so he suggested, so I said, okay, मेरे को भी थोड़ा लिखने का शौक है, तो मैं let me do it, and it was not very time consuming. So I did it on his instance. So after doing the training, I asked him, so how many people do it? I was just inquiring how many people do it because it's a well constructed course. So how people do it? And he said people do it, and then we were talking, and what input he gave me, very brilliant input. He gave me that people are not sticking to one author. There are
Hmm.
so many authors who are writing books, but people are not sticking to one author. आज
Hmm.
चेतन भगत अच्छा लगा, कल को अश्विन सांगी अच्छा लगा, परसों वो वापस किसी ओल्ड ऑथर पे रस्किन बॉन्ड पे चले जाएंगे. So
Hmm.
there is no. Secondly, as a society, we are very price conscious. We are very price conscious. सो अगर वो 299 की किताब होगी तो शायद नहीं खरीदेंगे कि यार इतने में तो कॉफी
Hmm.
पी लेंगे. लेकिन अगर
Hmm.
वही किताब 249 की होगी या 199 की होगी तो पीपल विल जंप ऑन टू इट,
Hmm.
especially during the sales season. And the
Hmm.
90% of the sales actually happen in the sales season whenever
Hmm.
these e-portals come up with them. So the
Correct.
two things which I collected from talking to him, a sort of an author who is a full-time author, is that even as a small industry as publishing, uh, there is no commitment. There is no commitment, and we are a very price conscious society. So the thing is that without having a proper social reform, it is very
Hmm.
difficult in our country to have an economic reform in the truest sense. So when the economic reforms and the social reforms come together, then we'll see that the proper change is happening at the ground level also. The
Hmm.
one of the problems in our society is also that the word reform is very misused.
Hmm.
तो अभी वो जीएसटी का 3 पेज का फॉर्म, 5 पेज का फॉर्म 3 पेज का कर दिया तो उसको रिफॉर्म बोलते हैं काफी लोग. ऐसे तो ऐसे ही अगर बरसात में रोड खराब हो गई, रोड ठीक कर दी तो उसको लोग रिफॉर्म बोलते हैं. दैट इज
Hmm.
एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क. दैट आई मीन जीएसटी का फॉर्म करना, दैट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एफिशिएंसी इंप्रूव करना. या अगर गड्ढा भर दिया बारिश में तो दैट इज अ म्युनिसिपैलिटी वर्क, दैट इज नॉट अ इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म. आपने
Hmm.
कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स कट किया, दैट इज एन इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म. ठीक है कि आपने एंकरेज किया नई कंपनीज आके यहाँ पर डालें, चाहे हमारी एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनीज और अपना एक्सपेंशन करना चाहते हैं, तो दैट इज एन
Hmm.
इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म. So the issue
Hmm.
is also how we are viewing it.
Hmm.
How what is the sentiment? Uh,
Hmm.
Whether the actual reform is happening or uh, it is for the sake of it we are doing the reform. So
Hmm.
that's why this period is very critical for India and for our strategy also, because
Hmm.
after COVID a lot of businesses are changing.
Hmm.
A lot of business models are changing. Some of these companies will not survive, will not be,
Hmm.
unfortunately, will not be able to survive. So we have
Hmm.
to keep on evaluating on a sort of a daily, weekly basis, monthly basis, that which companies are going to survive more, and we have to make sure that we are not stuck in a company where the business model will just fail after 6 months. once this
Hmm.
liquidity phase is over, and we don't want to stuck with that kind of a business or that kind of a stock. So,
Hmm.
understanding how the society is changing, how the cultural changes are happening, that
Hmm.
is also very critical. So, if you look to our culture, we have grown very organically. You know, अभी यहाँ से ये अच्छा कर लिया, वो खराब कर दिया, XYZ. So अभी basic, I don't want to make it into a cultural commentary because we write a lot to our clients, keep on emphasizing this point that we are not making the best use of our culture. Okay. अभी आप ये देखो कि we are best at culinary cooking. हमारा बेस्ट होता है. आप इतनी वैरायटी है, आप इंडिया के किसी कोने में चले जाइए, देयर इज सो मच डाइवर्सिटी, सो मच वैरायटी इन ईटिंग, कुकिंग. बट उसके बावजूद भी देयर इज नो ग्लोबल ब्रांड which is there. Okay. In fact, the foreign brands like McDonald's and Domino's have come and captured our market. But there has
Hmm.
been no brand which has gone global. I know there are Haldiram, Bikaner, and etc. are there, uh, but no one has actually gone global. So that has also come from the mindset that our that feudal instinct hasn't gone so far. So similarly, how we plan our festivals, traffic rules, how we follow, there is a lack of trust. अभी आप ट्रैफिक रूल्स कर रहे हैं, अब सिग्नल पे आप खड़े हो, आप हमेशा देखिएगा पुलिस वाला जो होता है, जो ट्रैफिक पुलिस वाला होता है, वो छुप के रहता है हमेशा, वो कोशिश
Hmm.
करता है आपको पकड़ने की. ठीक है, बिकॉज देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट. उसको भी पता है कि यार ये निकल जाएगा बंदा, और आपको भी पता है कि यार आप शायद निकल सकते हो. So as a society, we lack complete trust, and that needs to change because that will eventually start reflecting in your business. So this comes back to our original point that how we are, incorporating in our strategy, and what we are seeing, what we are hearing. Actually, we are also seeing on the ground. So for confirm that trend, you need to develop a sort of a network for you. So whether and this can be done, it is not that this has to be done by a person who is experienced in the market. This can be done by anyone, even the people who are new to the markets. They can do it. They can create their own networks where your phone call, you're only a phone call away. You can easily meet up ex-employees. Uh, I get to know a lot of people through LinkedIn who help me in knowing about the ex-employees, about the management, uh, vendors, suppliers to the products. So that you can always cross-verify. If something is
Hmm.
going right, then also, and something is going wrong, then also. So then you have to see whether that trend is fitting into your strategy or not. You are and then you can make a rational and impartial judgment. Stop your वो इको होता है ना कि आपने तरफ आपने एक वो चेम्बर बना लिया, उसमें आपने कहा कि यार इसके अलावा मैं कुछ नहीं सुनूंगा, एक बार बाय कर लिया तो मैं किसी की नहीं सुनूंगा. आप सलमान खान नहीं हो, आपको सबकी सुननी है. ठीक है
Hmm.
ना. So जब आपको what you are seeing on the ground, that you start incorporating without any bias into the strategy,
Hmm.
that's when the scuttlebutt really happens.
Hmm.
So this was again one of our surveys where we did it about 3 years back in Bareilly. Uh, so there is a lot of excitement in the infra scheme and all, but our cities, except probably Chandigarh and couple of hill stations, none of our cities are well managed as far as the infra is concerned. They are growing like ginger. So this
Hmm.
was a survey done in 2018 December, where we went around on the New Year's Eve, and we took
Hmm.
a lot of some of these photographs were there published in the newspaper also, and some places we visited also, and we realized how much a tier two city like Bareilly has changed. And then we have done these surveys across many other many other cities, tier two cities in across India, and the theme is common that the parties are more expensive than you go into a Delhi or a Bombay party.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so whatever is happening in in a tier one, they also want. So you want a theme park, the theme park has to be there in tier two city also. The construction of the houses needs to be very proper. The infrastructure which is there in the house, that has also become aspirational. You need to have a sort of a digital TV also there, internet connection is also there. Everything has become aspirational. So everybody wants to upgrade their home. So from there also you get a sense of uh, what to buy in
Hmm.
your portfolio, because you're
Hmm.
seeing that people want to upgrade, they want to paint their houses, they want to buy new TV sets, they want to uh, upgrade basically their homes, they want to have security cameras. uh, so and this is one thing which has remained constant over the past
Hmm.
5 years. We are doing surveys across the cities. uh, the infra development is not up to the mark. It is always hodgepodge. It is always growing like ginger, but the aspiration is always there. So the
Hmm.
demand, so this becomes an important point, because we have to see then that whether the demand is coming or not, and from where it is the demand is coming, and whether
Hmm.
that demand is sustainable or not.
Hmm.
So right now we know that during COVID, people are buying what they need.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
but will they keep on buying this when things normalize? That
Hmm.
is where our surveys will come help us. That's where the scuttlebutt will help us in knowing going forward. So just to like sum it up, what we have discussed and what are the key points of our strategy currently. That as I said before also, that portfolio should not be a collection of stocks. It should be driven by your investment strategy, whatever you are getting it from the ground. So
Hmm.
we said that okay, the aspirations will continue to rise, and so the aspirational spending with that rise will also continue to increase.
Hmm.
Uh, Household inflation will rise, and that will stay elevated for the next few years. Now, there is a very key thing that अभी आप देखो कि हाउस होल्ड में आपकी मेड की सैलरी कम नहीं होती है, आपकी जो भी आपके साथ काम कर रहे हैं हाउस हेल्प, उनकी सैलरीज कभी कम नहीं होती है, एजुकेशन फीस कभी कम नहीं होती है। तो जो हाउस होल्ड का इन्फ्लेशन है वो कभी कम नहीं होता, दैट इज इंक्रीजिंग ओवर द पास्ट फ्यू years, and that will continue to increase because of what is happening in our society. We are not paying sufficient attention to cultural and social reforms, and that's why the inflation will not come down so easily. Uh, so that is one of our assumptions. Then again, the real wages will not rise. They haven't rose in the past 6 7 years. I mean, the IT companies, they give like a 5% wage. The inflation is 5%. So we don't think that the real wages will rise in any significant matter. Workers will have to work longer, harder. Uh, in some cases, women also need to start, working, or if they are working, they need to continue working to supplement the household incomes. Uh, the retail credit demand will rise as people aspire to upgrade their homes and lifestyle. The traditional social security system will also disappear. So the gap between the rich and poor, which we keep on talking uh, in the when we are talking about the cultural context, so that will continue to rise. So uh, the rich people will not so much bother about buying a, let's say, a 40 lakh car. Okay, so for them it's not a big difference. So that is happening currently also. So just to give you an example, uh, the people who have insurance, okay, they are okay with it. Okay, the rich is not bothered without an insurance also. He knows because अगर वो कुछ कोविड हो गया और हॉस्पिटलाइज हो गया तो वो he can fund that. Okay, but and poor people are enrolled in the government schemes. तो उनको भी इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता, लेकिन जो मिडिल क्लास है वो ही डज नॉट वांट टू बियर दैट एक्सपेंस। तो अगर उसने इंश्योरेंस नहीं लिया हुआ है तो ही विल लुकिंग टू गेट इंश्योरेंस इनटू द सिस्टम, सो दैट बिकम्स अ बिग अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर अस। सो फ्रॉम अंडरस्टैंडिंग द सोशल सिस्टम्स आल्सो वी आर गेटिंग अ पॉइंट दैट ओके यार वो इंश्योरेंस तो अब पक्का बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि इंश्योरेंस आप सबको लेना ही पड़ेगा, सबके दिमाग में आ गया कि यार कोविड है, वैक्सीन आने में टाइम लगेगा, और कोविड है भी तो यार एक बार ले लो, वैक्सीन आ भी गई तो भी हो सकता है, तो द इंश्योरेंस विल गो अप, वर्कर मोबिलिटी विल इंक्रीज, पीपल, अभी ये होता है कि यार घर के पास काम कर लो, बट बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड ऑल्सो अभी ये जूम वगैरह आ जाएगा, तो आ चुका है रादर, तो अभी वो काफी हम देख रहे हैं कि द वर्कर मोबिलिटी विल increase in the sense that people would like to maybe go back to their hometowns and work from there. Again, as I said, as I was saying earlier, the RBI का जो data है वो थोड़ा पुराना होता है. So this is like FY12 to 18 CAGR, where we have seen how the expenditure has increased. So as you can see the data, you can also see that clothing and footwear जो है, that is 7%, और education भी 7% है. ओके, तो इसका मतलब जो पैसा आप अपने यूज कर रहे हो डेली लाइफ के लिए, उतना ही पैसा आपका एजुकेशन में लग रहा है. मजे की बात यह है कि एजुकेशन जो है 7% है, और आरबीआई के इन्फ्लेशन बास्केट में एजुकेशन है ही नहीं. तो जो सीपीआई का डेटा आ रहा है वो कितना मिसमैच है बिटवीन एक्चुअल इन्फ्लेशन विच इज हैपनिंग, the consumer inflation which is happening, and the data which is published by RBI. So this is a very key critical input in our investment strategy as well. Then again, we are seeing that transport is 15%, which is more than the health, communication, and education. So there is a misplaced household. We are traveling too much. If the transport cost of the household expenditure is 15%, that means we're traveling too much. The place where you are working, that is too far from your home. So that may change with Corona, because people start probably work from home matter or not. Some companies are allowing complete work from home. So that needs to be seen to be evaluated. So hopefully, when the next time the FY19 CAGR data comes for the RBI, we can have a look at that. So now, some of your viewers might ask this question, हम तो यार retail investors, how we can do a scuttlebutt. So मतलब ऐसे कुछ ऐसा हवा नहीं बनाना चाहिए scuttlebutt का. It's very simple. आप actually subconsciously you're already doing scuttlebutt. When you're talking to people about a company, about a stock, you're already doing the scuttlebutt. But what you should do to enhance that framework is develop a network. Okay, so be unbiased, share opinions freely over social media, make a conversation, like ask questions, and there are enough people you can talk to about. I personally, when I do scuttlebutt, what I do is that हम मुद्रिका पकड़ते हैं आउटर रिंग रोड में. अगर आप दिल्ली की थोड़ी ज्योग्राफी के बारे में अवेयर हो, हम मुद्रिका पकड़ते हैं. वो आउटर रिंग रोड पे एक जगह से स्टार्ट होती है, पूरा ऐसे दिल्ली का चक्कर लगाती है और वापस वहीं पे आ जाती है. टोटल 3 घंटा लेती है वो. आप 3 घंटे के लिए वो सवारी कीजिए, आपको 3 घंटे में करीब ऑन एन एवरेज 7 से 10 लोग आपके बगल में बैठते हैं उसमें.
अच्छा.
ठीक है, हाँ, ऑन एन एवरेज 7 से 10 लोग बैठते हैं 3 घंटे में. आप उनसे बातें कीजिए. मोदी जी की बातें करेंगे तो ज्यादा जल्दी हो जाएगा. उसके बाद आप उनसे कोई भी बात कर सकते हैं. आपके हाउस होल्ड पे क्या चल रहा है, बच्चे की एजुकेशन क्या चल रही है, आपके जो आप सोसाइटी में रहते हैं वहां पर क्या प्रोग्रेस हुई है, आपके घर के आसपास ब्रॉडबैंड आया है, टेलीकॉम की सिचुएशन क्या. आपको पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन 3 घंटे में मिल सकती है कि सोसाइटी में, इकोनॉमी में क्या चल रहा है, क्या सेटिस्फैक्शन लेवल है सरकार के प्रति, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के प्रति, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के प्रति. Everything you can get it in 3 hours, and I do that activity usually 2-3 hours. Once a quarter, so definitely I'll do it. And you can record it with their permission. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. स्मार्टफोन्स आजकल सबके पास होते हैं, सब में रिकॉर्डर होता है. You can make notes, you can capture images that will help you making mental notes. And go out at different time periods. Don't just go on a weekday or a weekend. Mix it up. Go in the afternoon and evening. Morning is a bad time to talk about anything because everybody's in a rush. But afternoon and evening are usually preferred time. So everybody can do scuttlebutt. There is no way that people cannot do scuttlebutt. A retail investor cannot do. You have to develop that network and you have to keep enhancing that network. Abhi, during the COVID, we could not travel too much. But because we had फोन नंबर है, अभी होलसेल मार्केट जाना है, रिटेल मार्केट जाना है, तो सबके फोन नंबर्स हैं, यू कैन कम्युनिकेट विद देम एंड दे आर वेरी हेल्पफुल. Most of the people are very helpful, and you develop a network so that you develop a rapport, and then you can utilize that network. So this is sort of a जो मैं बता रहा था कि what we go. So you start from like New Delhi railway station, which is a metro station. You go to Pahalganj, there are low tier hotels, there are leather bags shops, a lot of that. So you can uh, ask them what is happening. Do you go to Sadar Bazaar? So वहाँ पे सारे household के items मिलते हैं. Then you can do it. अब खारी बावली जाओ, that's a spice and dry fruit market. So you get a lot of inputs how the wholesale markets are doing. You go to Chavdi Bazaar, वहाँ पे paper का काम है, cards का काम है सारा. So कहाँ से input मिलेगा? नई सड़क में you go to proper publications and write how the writers are doing, how the school books are happening. School book sales are happening, that you can get a point. Then you Chandni Chowk, there's a whole retail market, right from everything you can find it out in the Chandni Chowk market. Red Fort, you can go for cycles, how the cycle sales, etc. are happening, two-wheeler sales is happening. So my point is, this is like one structure where you can go for 2-3 hours, take around, talk to people, understand what are the trends which are happening, what are the products which are selling, how much financial crunch they're feeling, जीएसटी में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, कंप्लायंस में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं. अभी सभी की कंप्लेंट ये होती है कि देयर आर टू मेनी चेंजेस इन जीएसटी. सो अभी 3 साल हो चुके हैं जीएसटी को, बट देयर आर स्टिल चेंजेस हैपनिंग इन जीएसटी. So compliance has become a very major issue for SMEs and MSMEs. So these kind of inputs you can get from a lot of scuttlebutt which happens on the ground. So yeah, that's it.
अमित भाई, एक मेरा क्वेश्चन है. ये बहुत ही
हाँ जी.
ब्यूटीफुल आपने एक पूरा एक अपना माइंडसेट पूरा हमारे सामने प्रेजेंट किया, और दिस इज अ परफेक्ट वीडियो वेयर वी एक्चुअली हैव गॉन इनटू द माइंड ऑफ अ पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजर कि आप लोग कैसे सोचते हो, बीइंग अ प्रोफेशनल फंड मैनेजर हु इज मैनेजिंग अदर पीपल्स मनी. बट मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि अमित भाई, इतना देखने के बाद, आफ्टर डूइंग ऑल दीज, you probably will come to a judgment that economy is not doing good, right?
Hmm.
And when you see the market is still going up, so
Hmm.
that's where the bigger problem is, that even though economy is not doing good and you don't want to invest in anything related to economy right now, maybe
Hmm.
some sectors may be doing good, which it would be difficult to identify those sectors for a normal retail investor. But the question still remains that economy may not be doing good, but the market will continue to do good. Under that
Hmm.
situation, a FOMO will naturally come into a person, right?
Right.
So how do you deal with that situation, especially when you're managing other people's money? जब
हाँ.
खुद का पैसा मैनेज कर रहे हैं तब तो चलिए गलतियां हो सकती है, वो माफ है
Hmm.
क्योंकि अपने आप को जवाब देना है. But when you're managing other people's money, then it's like you can't go wrong most of the time.
Yeah. So when you're managing other people's money, or you're even acting as an investment advisor, so people are buying on your advice. So you obviously need to go into the depth of each and everything before you make a recommendation. You cannot make a light-hearted, off the hand kind of a recommendation. So first thing which we do is that until and unless we are very, very sure about a company, we do not recommend it publicly. So sometimes it happens that we are okay with the company, but we are not okay with the management, and we don't buy that company. So I'll give you like 2-3 examples based on this, and this again goes back to what we were discussing in our cultural strategy. That I met a auto ancillary company about a month ago. अभी अगेन वो तो पॉइंट आ रहा था कि ऑटो के स्टॉक बहुत ज्यादा चल रहे हैं, ऑटो इंसल्वेंसी बहुत चल रहा है, तो we met a company, and what we realized after meeting that company is that there was no hunger. There was no hunger to expand that business. वो स्टॉक 100 का 200 हो चुका है मार्केट के अंदर, ठीक है. लेकिन प्रमोटर ये कह रहा है कि यार मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ये 200 का 250 भी हो जाए तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, 200 का वापस 150 भी आ जाए तो कोई फर्क नहीं. सो एज एन एडवाइजर आप क्या करोगे? You will obviously not recommend that company. So sometimes what happens is that market has more confidence in a company than the promoter himself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when you see that kind of mismatch, you know कि यार इसमें तो इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना है, चाहे ये 200 का 300 ही हो जाए। और हमें अपने रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स को भी यही एजुकेट करना है कि
Hmm.
आप शॉर्ट टर्म गेन देख रहे हो, इसमें आप जब फंसोगे तो इतना होगा, आपका कैपिटल लॉस होगा। The first rule of investment advice is that you should not try and minimize your loss. ओके, सो
Hmm.
आप कैसे इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो अगर आप अभी, ये तो लिक्विडिटी का खेल है, एंड वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन, आई मीन जो नए नए इन्वेस्टर्स आए 3 साल पहले, कि 2017 में जो हुआ, जो पोजीशन है वो आज की डेट में पोजीशन निकल रही है लोगों की जिन्होंने होल्ड किया था। तो दो
Hmm.
साल आपको उस पोजीशन पे नहीं मिली, उसका 15%, 15% तो आपका अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट हो गई। एफडी में अगर आप वही पैसा रखते हैं तो 7, 7.5% मिलता है आपको, तो 15% तो आपकी अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट 2 साल की चली गई है। उसके बाद आपको अगर आप साइकिल में आप ऐसे ही करोगे कि वो बॉटम टॉप पे लिया और फिर बॉटम में उसको लेकर, मतलब साइकिल नीचे आई, आप बॉटम पे उसको लेकर बैठे रहे और फिर टॉप पे आया, आपने उसको बेच दिया, तो आपका पैसा ना तो बन सकता है, और पेन जो होगा 2 साल का, 1 साल का जो भी होगा, वो एक अलग पेन है। तो
Hmm.
कहीं ना कहीं वो पेशेंस तो रखना ही पड़ता है रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स को यार।
Hmm.
अब बहुत मस्ती हो गई, आप थोड़ा हमें टाइट करना है, अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी टाइट करनी है, अपना स्टॉक सिलेक्शन टाइट करना है।
Hmm.
और लिक्विडिटी जो होती है वो दोनों साइड वर्क करती है, एक साइड वर्क नहीं
Hmm.
करती है।
Hmm.
लिक्विडिटी जब जाती है तो फिर लोअर सर्किट्स भी लगते हैं, ठीक है। और जो लिक्विडिटी कब आएगी और कब जाएगी, उसके रीजंस हमेशा होते हैं, लेकिन वो सही टाइम पे ही वापस आते हैं, सही टाइम पे दिखाई देते हैं। और मोस्टली ग्लोबल रीजंस होते हैं, कि भाई अभी वो स्वीडन में बैठा हुआ कोई फंड मैनेजर है, उसने डिसाइड किया कि आज मैं इंडिया को 3% की जगह 2% ही एलोकेट करूंगा, मेरे को 1% आज एग्जिट करना है। उसको आज एग्जिट करना है, वो एग्जिट कर देगा। आप कहोगे कि यार ये मार्केट क्यों नीचे जा रहा है, मार्केट इसलिए नीचे जा रहा है बिकॉज some fund manager sitting in Norway or Sweden has decided to reduce his allocation. Now you cannot question his judgment. Okay,
Correct.
you can question your stocks, you can question your strategy. So liquidity is something which works both ways. When it comes, it is very good for market. When it goes out or when it reduces, also we have to adjust. We have to adjust to every cycle in the market, not just the bull market. So अगर बियर मार्केट में लॉसेस कम होंगे तभी बुल मार्केट में मजा आएगा, क्योंकि आप बुल मार्केट में उतना ज्यादा कमाने का आपको मौका है।
Absolutely amazing. I think well presented and well answered my question. And I'm sure that friends who are watching this video, the whole objective of recording this video at this time was there is too much FOMO in the market, and the way Amit Bhai has explained you to create your own space and figure out the stocks which is within your core competence or within your circle of competence, and you are able to analyze them, understand them, and don't get into this whole notion of FOMO which is prevalent right now. And he has given you perfect way of identifying the best sector and best stock for yourself. Thank you, Amit Bhai, for this lovely recording. It is really good content which you have given to us. I'm sure that people will find value in this, and best of luck for your journey as a fund manager. I'm sure you're going to do wonderful in whatever you are doing right now. And hopefully, we'll be able to interact with you more in future as well.
So thank you so much, Vivek Bhai, and really appreciate me bringing here, uh, bringing to this platform, and for this wonderful discussion. And the very best. I've seen all your three ventures which you are currently doing: Stockage app, Credit, and the eLearns platforms. You're doing really amazing work, and please continue this good work. That will give a lot of opportunities for people associated with financial markets to showcase their skills, showcase their strategies,
Hmm.
and hopefully retail investors will benefit from it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for becoming part of
Thank you so
this
much.
journey. Thank you so much for recording. Okay, दोस्तों पसंद आया होगा. I hope you must have liked it. You have to watch these videos at least twice. because certain things which you get to know are something which you may not comprehend immediately. So if you watch these kind of videos twice, you will become a much better trader or investor in market. This was more oriented towards investing and long-term wealth creating through right portfolio management. So I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you, Amit Bhai. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Have a safe life ahead. Bye bye.